Hello everybody, so I'm here once again to do my September TV wrap up where I talk about some cartoons, new films, that sort of stuff, but I'm also going to do an October and more generalised autumn readathon TBR. So just a quick preface, I talk about other shows in case you didn't know over on my Twitter, for example like reality stuff and some other bits that I'm not like gonna do a review on in some shape or form, as well as thoughts as things are airing. I tend to share them over on Twitter and Instagram as well, so follow me if you want to hear other thoughts. I am Sapphire Brains on Twitter and Wolf_Hailstorm on Instagram. The first thing I watched during September was Christopher Robin, which I gave a 3.5 stars. It was a spontaneous birthday treat that Mum and I went to see. It follows Christopher Robin, mainly as an adult, basically trying to find himself again and get back to being the best version of himself he can be, for him and his family. It was incredibly adorable. It just made my heart really warm inside. It did whiz through the start. I think I would have preferred a slower pace of him growing up. That's one of my kind of things that I would have preferred, and probably would have given it a higher rating if it did so, and did so well, of course. I loved seeing slight characteristics of Pooh and friends in Christopher's adult life in his day job. All the 100 Acre Wood characters were absolutely amazing. I thought it would have delved more into a magical route and meaning as to why it was all grey, etc., and how these characters were actually like real, if that makes sense. But I still like the overall outcome of the story. I absolutely adored the music, the classics and new songs. It just felt perfect for this film and very nostalgic as well. So if you're a fan of Winnie the Pooh, definitely go check this out. After that, I watched Wishfart Season 1 and I gave that 4 stars. So Cartoon Network premiered a new cartoon the last few months as part of their new show each month thing. I don't know if it's just for the autumn season, but that's kind of like the theme that I was getting. And I decided to finally watch the first like 15 plus episodes in order to review Wishfart. So they show their cartoons 2 at a time, typically showing 2 15-minute episodes back to back. So I assume that's why the recordings are episodes 1, 3, 5, etc. Just thought I'd mention that because I did set a series link recording on Virgin Media. So the art style kind of reminds me of regular show, but the colour scheme reminds me of Adventure Time. But it's something that also gives me a Chowder vibe to it. So it's kind of like a mashup of familiarity. Definitely a classic, well, a current modern day classic Cartoon Network TV show. Like you'd look at that and think, oh, that'd probably be on Cartoon Network, if you know what I mean. Seem to follow this kid called Des, a Kiko the ghost, and this bird animal, a toucan. Wait, no, he's called Puffin, so a puffin, I guess he is. Yeah, I think they even said he's a puffin. I shouldn't assume, but I'm pretty sure he's a puffin. In a trippy world of magical creatures, and like most cartoons, everything out of the ordinary is pretty ordinary for them. So I think our main character has like leprechaun powers, granting wishes that always go wrong. So that's kind of like the general basis of the TV show, episode per episode. I honestly wasn't blown away by the pilot episode, but it totally got more entertaining. One of my favourite episodes being Spicy is Paradisey, where Puffin wishes to be able to eat forever, and of course that wish has its flaws. I am confused why some episodes weren't recorded in my shows, but then they were available to watch on ITV Hub of all places. I don't know if they connect. I know sometimes Cartoon Network shows are showed on CITV, which is an ITV channel I think, so perhaps that's it. But that was completely irrelevant to the actual review of the show. I just really needed to get that off my chest. After that I went to the cinema again, later on in the month actually. I think it was like right at the end, and I ended up seeing The House with the Clock in Its Walls, and I gave this a 3 star. So I went like the day after it released to see this film, and there wasn't a lot of people in the theatre. I thought it would be packed, but I guess I went whilst kids were still at school, and it's more of a family film, so I can get that. But that kind of gave me a little bit of like a is this film going to be good or going to be bad? I hadn't really seen any ratings or reviews on it either. So I thought it was fun, easy entertainment, made more enjoyable by Jack Black and Kate Blanchett. I never know if I'm saying her last name right, but I love her. I should know her last name, really. Yeah. Without them, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did. It's something I would say I'd happily stick on whilst I'm potting around, or if I rarely have people over whilst playing a game or something, but not something I'd stick on to devote my entire attention to. Again, at least. So yeah, it's one of those films that I'd recommend, you know, just to stick on if you feel like watching something you haven't seen before. But yeah, it's not like going to hold a place in my heart forever. Whoa, my throat just went really funny. So the last thing I finished watching was Collateral, which is a 4-star from me. So this is a more of a serious note actually. I finally watched the 4-part BBC drama following the investigation of the shooting of Abdullah Asif. The trailer looked intense. I was interested in how they dealt with topics such as murder, ethnicity, etc. So I had asked Mum to keep the recording as she wanted it to, and loved it too. It's pretty much all-star, I think, and I was looking forward in particular to seeing Billie Piper and John Sim. Both I have absolutely adored in Doctor Who, of course. It's cool that John Sim's real daughter plays his daughter in the show as well. From the start, it makes you assume who shot the guy that the investigation's about, but you try not to be swayed, as I knew it would be more complex, and I was wrong anyway. This was just such a deep exploration into why things are done to other ethnicities that are seeking help in Britain. You know, the difficult process of trying to get justice for them when they're not British citizens. Oh wow, it got into so much depth that I wasn't expecting, to be honest, but it was very eye-opening, really interesting, and also really entertaining as well. So that's it for what I watched during September. Again, not a lot, just as it wasn't a lot with what I read, just because September was a busy month for me. So, in other news, the Autumn Readathon was a last-minute thing. It's hosted by Mercy's Bookish Musings, and it spans from the 20th to the 26th of October, so I thought I could share the general TBR that I'm about to share with you now with that readathon. I'm not necessarily going to be focusing on reading prompts, but I feel like some of the books that I've chosen in general could be used for that, such as read a gothic spooky book, read a short story collection, as I'm currently reading one now, even though it's not autumn themed. And if it wasn't fiction, one of my current contemporaries could have been used for an autumnal field book. So that's a shame. But yeah, seeing as I'm vlogging during October too, I'll update you on the process of that readathon. I'm just taking it casual really, so you'll see little clippets here and there nearer the end of the month or the beginning of the next month about how that process went. So now on to my TBR for October and the autumn readathon. So, transitioning on to what I want to read during October. Seeing as I haven't got a book wrap up, I thought I'd still do a little bit of a book goal. Hopefully that'll get me reading a bit more. September was just such a busy month, and admittedly I didn't put as much effort into reading as I could have done, but as I said, a lot was going on in September and I'd assumed I wouldn't read too much. I did finish one book, but I think I'll just save to talk about that during October, just so it's just a little bit more bulky. I don't feel like doing a full review on just that one book. So my October TBR is very ambitious. I'm not assuming I'm going to read finish a lot of these. Okay, so I've got 2 books that I'm midway through that I think I could finish at least one. 3 books that I'm midway through actually, and then a whole stack of books that I want to get to just because they've been on TBRs and I've just not got to them. So the 2 main books I'm midway through, and then I'll talk about the last one later because that's just been going on for years. Yeah, I think years. So the first one here is Summer Days and Summer Nights, 12 Summer Romances, which is edited by Stephanie Perkins. Currently, I'm about halfway through this now. I started this whilst I was on holiday in Menorca, and I feel like if I don't finish it now, it's going to drag on probably into the next year, next summer, and I don't want to do that. I think I probably would be alright. I wouldn't feel as guilty just because they are short stories and it's not a cohesive story that I'm putting down and not getting back till next year, so it won't be like I'll have to refresh my mind, but I do just want to knock this out before my full autumn vibes kick in. Following that, again, it's something similar. I didn't start this when I was on my holiday, but I have been reading it for quite a few months, and it's a contemporary. It's like, it does have winter themes and such, but contemporaries I feel like I want to read more, especially romantic contemporaries, which I don't read a lot of, but I feel like in my mind, being a mood reader, I feel like reading those during the summer months, and summer has gone, and that is The House of Birds and Butterflies by Cressida McLaughlin. So again, I'm just about halfway in this. Now this is a full story. This is a novel following this girl who recently moved into this like village area, and she's working in a wildlife sort of centre a wildlife trust. Things start to go a little bit downhill when they get a bit of competition, because the nature reserve kind of near them has the TV show going on, and they're getting a little bit more buzz than this reserve, so they're trying to find ways to, you know, keep them on top. And then there's a love interest introduced, someone very broody, someone quite angsty, who's a novel writer and author. It's really fun. I am enjoying it. I think it was a bit slow to get into, but this is just another one that I feel like could drag, and I just won't be in the mood to pick it up as it gets into those colder, darker months. And then for the theme of, I feel like I'm going into like October-y, sort of, not spooky, but you know, that sort of dark element to it now. And also one that was on my Instagram chooses my TBR. I need to get to this because I filmed that back in July, I think, uploaded it in August possibly, and I still haven't started any of those books on that list. So I thought one that could be, even though it's big, I thought it would be quite an easy read if I can get into it, if I'm still into this, of course. And that is Becca Fitzpatrick's Hush Hush, but it's parts 1 and 2. So yeah, it is a meaty one. I was intending just to start like the first book within this, because this has got both book 1 and book 2 in it. I never know how to list things like this. Would I list it as this edition on Goodreads? Because then I feel like I'm cheating myself, because it's 2 books but it's only got it down as 1 book, but then I guess people will say the page count. I don't know. This is an angel themed book. I can't really remember too much about this. I got this years and years and years ago, when I was getting more into like angel, dark romance, sort of fantasy, angsty teen stuff. So yeah, I can't really remember the ins and outs of this, but I want to get to this because I just feel like I need to tick off a book, or at least start a book from that Instagram chooses my TBR video that I did. And also, you know, it's got a bit more of a dark, broody feeling that I want for the October months. And then straight up witch book, this is Basic Witch, How to Summon Success, Banish Drama and Raise Hell with Your Coven. This is by J.S. Saxena and Jess Zimmerman. So I won this from a Bounty of Books channel. She's called Kaylee, she's a lovely girl. And I won this like last year, and I've been holding off reviewing this other witch book that I read near the beginning of the year, because I want to do a duo review with this and that. And it's getting on to the end of the year now, and I still haven't done that video, so I just want to read this so that I can do that duo review together. Hopefully get that up in October, but I doubt that will happen, just because I've got such an ambitious TBR and I'm midway through books that I've not finished yet. So fingers crossed for me, guys. Then I've got another one that's been sitting there for a while. So this book I requested from NetGalley a few years ago when I didn't have a tablet, so I didn't get to the book quick enough on my computer and it expired. And then my brother's girlfriend, when they lived with us, had this book, and I realised, oh my god, that's the book that I wanted to read, and I was really interested in it at the time. Anyway, they've moved and everything. This book's just been sitting there. She hasn't asked for it back, so I've kind of just adopted it as my own. Not so much so that I've taken off the sticker yet. I think that's a bit rude. I'll have to ask her if I can actually keep it, but I'm sure she won't mind me borrowing it. She probably doesn't remember that it's here. But that is Baby Doll by Holly Overton. I think this is kind of like a thriller kind of suspense book. Again, another good theme for you know, this coming month. So it says, you've been held captive in one room. You've been mentally and physically abused every day since you were 16 years old. Then one night you realise your captor has left the door to your cell unlocked. For the first time in 8 years, you're free. This is what happens. I feel like this could be quite triggering, so just be mindful of that if you are intrigued by the book. Then there's another book I've been wanting to read for ages. I've been putting off because of other things. Just, I don't know, I'm pretty sure this was on some sort of TBR as well. Not an official TBR because I don't do them that often, but one that I just like loosely mentioned on Instagram, I think. And that is Giovanna and Tom Fletcher's Eve of Man. So this got quite a few bits of buzz around them at the time that this was released, and I was quite excited about it because it's a sci-fi. I wanted to give it a go. I actually wanted to read this during Sci-Fi July, I remember now, but I got to the other 2 books instead of this one. This one I'm really excited about. Moreira, my friend that you saw in like the vlogs and stuff, she has read this. She liked it. It's different for her because she's just used to like romance, contemporary. She usually reads those kind of books, but she loves Giovanna and Tom Fletcher. She went to a book signing event. I was so jealous because I really wanted to see. But yeah, I need to give this a go. So it's basically following this girl called Eve. I think she's looked after by like machines. She doesn't really have contact with the outside world or whatever. I don't know. I think there's a limit on
women or people. I'm not entirely sure anymore, like the synopsis has kind of gone out of my head and I can't bother to read it right now, but this is another one I'd like to get to. This is looking so ambitious. This will probably span into November, probably December, and probably next year, who knows. And then the last one, it's kind of a goal of mine. I'm already halfway through this one as well, but I've been reading it for like 2 years. I swear I really want to finish it this year. I don't know if I will, just because I've put it down for so long. I'm kind of losing interest, but the show is coming back in October, so hopefully that will inspire me to pick this back up, and that is Doctor Who The Vault by Marcus Hearn. Treasures from the first 50 years. Again, this is something, it's an easy quick read. It's just full of facts and like timelines and pictures, but it can be just a little bit dull, you know, especially from the earlier years, with things that I can't relate to as much, because I mean, I love the history of the show, I love learning about it, but I don't know, sometimes it can just drag. You know, it's just not dense in information, but it's long-winded, if that makes sense. So that is my extremely massive TBR. Please wish me luck. I hope I get to at least finish the half books that I'm already through, the 2 ones mainly, the 2 contemporaries, and at least get started on like either the thriller or like the fantasy or something. I think in my head I'm mainly, okay, so it's pretty much all of the books. Basically, I definitely want to bust out that Doctor Who one, because I've been reading it for so long. I definitely want to finish the 2 contemporaries, because I think I'm going to lose interest if it carries on. I need to read Eve of Man, because that was from my July TBR. I want to read Hush Hush, because that was in my other TBR that I never got to, and then I need to read the Witch one, because I've been meaning to do the duo review. So that just leaves the baby doll book that I can give a bit of leeway. I'm not too fussed about getting to that this month, but still I would like to. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books that I'm hoping to read. I need all your luck. Please give me your luck. The luck gods, I need that. The luck dragon from Neverending Story, come to be my friend. Thank you so much. I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.